Bimbola, good evening. Mr. Chikeze, good evening. Among
Hi, good evening.
us, good evening, Mr. Peter. I can only see two people on this call. I the instructor. Um, I'm over 50 people on Slack, Slack mobile. This is very, very bad. Very, very bad. As expected, since I think since the program is free, so people tend to take for granted. But I'm going to repeat myself again. You need 80% class attendance to graduate this course, to graduate. There won't be begging, there won't be time for begging. Oh, sir, I I I drive. You, you need 80% class attendance, and this is 8:35. I think we should wait to 8:40 before we dive into today's program. So I think the solo can start once it's exactly 8:40 because of course is uh, we have so much to do. Tomorrow is Sunday. So those are going to be on. But before then, I did welcome to the mobile engineering course. Um, Thank you for choosing to work on yourself on behalf of the Dava team. I welcome you. I thank you for for doing this meeting and doing it on time. It is wanted to join and it's wanted to join on time. So I say a very big thank you. And I say thank you for not taking this opportunity for granted. Of course, since we have work people in the Slack channel and we only have less than people, we have 5 people here. So it means those that are not here are here taking it for granted. But I thank you for not taking it for granted because this is a lot of work. The instructors, they do recorded classes. Recorded classes is much more difficult than classes. And they are big time because all of them, the full-time workers, full-time workers, and we know the nature of their job. Engineering, they can call you at 2 a.m. in 2 a.m. in the in the midnight that oh there's a glitch and do it. So, but in the ability to do this, take that time to call the classes, draft out the assessments and all that. So if they can do that, then I see no reason why you sign up for this course. And we asked you if you will you have 8 hours, you can leave 8 hours out of your week to learn this course, and you said yes. So if instructors for the ability schedule can do this, we have no excuse. And let me also, I feel people will be evicted. Of course, during the report, we have over 2,000 registration, 2,000 applicants. Less than 300 graduated from Dive Africa cohort. More than less than 300. When we have over 2,000 applicants, but less than 300. It's not a thing of joy, but of course, we can't carry everybody along. The Bible says it is God's will. I'm sorry for what are not Christians. It is God's will for all men to be saved, but it is it is not possible to be saved alone. Some people they are too heavy to be carried along. But I cannot. I know. I hope you right and I hope you put in the work. So in this um cohort, um, what we require of you is just little. Just you need your dedication, you need your commitment, your dedication and commitment. Please, for God's sake, we are not asking for money. This is free. All we need, all we ask of you is what your dedication and commitment, so that our sacrifice will worth it. So that our sacrifice will worth it. It is coming for free to you guys, but it is not to the instructors. It is not free. It's taking their time. To the organizers, it is not free. we spent a lot, and we are still spending. It's taking our time and money, our resources. So I beg of you, so that you won't be begging us later that, oh, something, 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 and when we show our true color now, you say, they are wicked. One thing. So we are begging you, in advance, in advance. So thanks. So in this call tonight, before we go, we are going to pick a class representative. And so I would like to pick from those that came here early, that joined this call early. So in the Abimbola, Omomi, Chikeze, um, uh, Goodness, Mr. Goodness, and um, yeah, four of you, probably anyone. If you would love to be, if you love to be the assistant, class rep and assistant, preferably a guy and a lady. So before the end of this onboarding session, so you can just indicate your interest in the chat box, so we can do a little bit, maybe a poll or thereabouts, or if you have a consensus, then we can move on. So Mr. Peter, please, if you are still with us, we can commence the session. Um, thank you, sir. Mr. Peter.
Yes, I'm with you. Good evening, everybody. Please confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Like, I just want to hear from like the rest. Mr. Emmanuel, where else am I seeing? I'm seeing good news. Just confirm. I mean, let's unmute our mic and it's like it's just an
Yeah,
onboarding. So
yes, I
just
can
want
hear
to hear
you.
your voice. All right. Good evening, everybody. How are we today?
Evening. Thank you.
Yeah, I can
Okay,
hear you.
let me.
Good
Oh,
evening.
awesome. All right. Just give me a moment. Let me share my screen and in let's say in the next 30 minutes so should be out of it. Share my screen. Okay. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen, sir.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
Okay, so I see someone hand raised. Is it for a question or probably I can just start and I can just take the question after the whole section. Oh, all right. Thank you, mommy. Okay, so good day, everyone. Welcome to Dive Africa Mobile Track onboarding session. So basically, what we just do in this um section is just to welcome you to the team. I mean, how to introduce myself and also what they are the things that I would learn, what are the requirements, and what to also expect in this course. And I will also explain some technicalities and what you need to what's like the how the next 8 weeks journey would be like. And also I would also want to say that I mean this is mobile, right? And I also want to explain some things that I mean you most likely when you start building code, right? When you start writing the code, when you start building your applications, what to also expect, right? And also I want to believe that I mean I really don't know our current I mean I've not probably related with anyone on the team, right? So I don't know your skill sets, but I believe that if you are literally new to the world of mobile development, I can guarantee that after this 8 week at least you can say that you have like at least you have like a core foundation in mobile development. I mean, um, we can't it's not like this is not something that you can learn in 8 week, right? However, but at least I believe that you can have like a you know a basic experience, and also want us to build over it. So that's just it. So let me just move into my slide and we can pull it off from there. So yeah, onboarding the journey to career shift. Okay. So basically, this is just the onboarding focus for today. We'll have like the introduction, which I think I've done. Then also I'll just talk a bit about me myself, the instructor, and also the training goals, and also the laptop requirements, because mobile development, it is heavy somehow, right? It's not like web, it's not like front end or back end, right? Like you need a specific. I think when I get there, I would also talk about more about that. Then also the program duration and also the program breakdown. So yeah, introduction. Okay, so basically, right. My name is Ikola Peter. I am a software engineer. I'm a mobile developer, and I have like over 4 years of experience building mobile applications. And I have also worked with. I've worked in various sectors. I've worked in the fintech, edtech, e-commerce, and I'm on. And in my years of experience, right, I've been able to work on projects from the entry code, like from the first line of code to deployment, like from the first line of code. Like it's just like a full project life cycle from design development to maintenance. And when we have bugs, so I've literally seen, I mean, based on this experience, right, I can say that I've seen like the end to end, do you get like a normal life cycle of a full application. And my current role, is senior software engineer. I'm a senior developer at Polaris Bank, and what I do is I lead like just to work on the project, maintain the application, push build. And I've literally worked on applications with ranging from large numbers of downloads, and also I've worked on smaller applications like that. So that is just a brief introduction about me. Then also I also do some freelancing by the side, and I'm also one of the top rated freelancers on Upwork. If you know, Upwork is like a global market. And also I've worked with various clients, and I've worked on applications. I've literally done some things around this, just to create, like, okay, like, just to inform you guys that what's the template I'm trying giving for this course, right? It's not like it's a production, like what is relatable. Would not get to the course and I'll tell you guys to start building calculator, because obviously I know that, yeah, we can probably do calculator, but me, I know that there's no way you can relate the calculator to when you start working. Please confirm if you can hear me so that I can, just pause by the way.
Yeah, we can hear you, sir, loud and clear.
Oh, okay. So yeah, thank you. So basically, these are just some things. There's also, connected to me. This is my LinkedIn, my GitHub, and the rest like that. So let's just move into the course. Okay, I think I want to say something right for us. Maybe I'll remember later. All right. So on the training, right? Most of us joined the onboarding. We joined the onboarding training last. I think that was held on Tuesday, right? Said that the class is like, for this training is like is 8 week recorded, and we'll have like a week meeting just to discuss challenges, review assignment, and also share insights. So this is what we'll be doing. So basically, the like we have like the videos are recorded already. So the task is like you watch the videos, then there will always be an assignment for every week. Then we'll just meet probably once a week, and also we can also communicate on our Slack channel, right? If you are having any difficulties, and I can just come in and yeah, I'm moving from there. So the training goals actually is just for you to like build a real world Flutter project from start to finish. right? And if you follow the onboarding process, I mean the onboarding meeting that was done on Tuesday, right? We said that you would at least at the end of this course, at the end of this training, right, you have like two projects that you've worked on, which one is your personal project that you can say that okay, I built this from your for your set. It might just be a very simple application, right? And also is one is a project that you come together as a team, you work with people, who work with different people, right? And you'd say that okay, so that is just to also build you to when you're working as a team, right? So because when you're working as an individual, it's different from when you're working with a team of people. So you can have that think and that experience. Then also what would also teach you is that you understand the Flutter architecture and the fundamentals, right? And I'd say that this is just the core thing of this course. I mean, this is just the core thing of these 8 weeks because we can't learn everything in this. You can't learn everything in 8 weeks, right? And we have ChatGPT, we have AIs that assist people, right? But the thing is, you need to understand the fundamentals. Do you understand? I mean, I think I'll also have a session on AIs and the code and the future. So that you need to understand that AI is here to stay, right? But we also need to learn how to use it. Do you understand? It's not. I'm still of the opinion that AI is not ready to. AI is not ready to. AI will not collect my job yet. I don't know the nearest future, but right now I feel like it is there just to support, and you also need to know how to work with it, right? AI, there are some logics that if you give AI will not, AI will give you the answer actually, but then it will just, there will always be a problem somewhere because it's not like the code is there already. I don't know if you understand, but that is just a case. So you need to understand, you need to know when to use AI, and you need to know there are some things that you need to learn. And don't just learn with, I mean, don't just do copy and paste. Sure, you understand. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, thank you so much. So then apply King Code's principle and modern UI. So basically, as we proceed in this course, right, you also do some UIs and to play around those ones so that at least for you to understand the widget structure and how it works like that. Then also prepare for freelancing and professional Flutter. So basically, this is outside the context of this course, but I said I actually spoke with one of the admin of this course, and he said that I can literally add it as well. So I believe that if probably some of us are into tech or some of us are the some of us are into tech or some of us probably we are just going into tech, right? I feel like freelancing is a part that we need to also learn why we are like why you are learning. You need to also learn freelancing, and it is not like a normal. It's a different word entirely. So I think you also need to learn that part because for Flutter right now, right, if you are moving into freelancing, you need to learn Firebase. That's the thing. You need to learn Firebase. If probably you want to look into like the open market, the global market like Upwork and Fiverr and the rest, right? So you need to learn Firebase, and you also there are some things that you just need to learn aside your normal flow, like normal coding and the rest like that. So I felt like probably one of our sessions will just discuss this, and I can share my insight and what I've learned so far when dealing with clients and when working as a team or when working as a freelancer, because they are two different things. So that is just the goal, training goals actually. So the recommended specifications, laptop requirements. So basically, right, I think this is where I sometimes have issues with people learning Flutter actually, because somebody would say, I don't have a laptop. If you don't have a laptop or if you don't have access to one, I'm very sorry to say I think you might need to, drop off at this point because there's no way you are going to, there's no way you are going to do it in this course actually, in this track actually. Then you don't have a good laptop. That is another thing, because Flutter itself, because the way Flutter works, right, it is one code base and it works on Android, on iOS, right? So the framework sits on the Flutter engine, right? It converts just a single code base to Android and iOS. So there are some software and some tools that you would need, right? And the tools are literally very heavy. I mean, if you are on Windows, right, you use Android Studio and maybe Android Studio, then maybe you can still use VS Code. And these are Android Studio alone, Android emulator. Emulator is around, at least the size of an emulator is around maybe like 2 gig on its own, like just the emulator itself, just like the Android emulator. So you need at least a processor of, at least if you're on Windows though, you need a processor of like Intel i5 or higher, a minimum of i5. Then for your RAM, right, you need a minimum of 8 gig RAM. For those, 16 gig is recommended. So because of why we say all these things is because it also is the way you work, right? Imagine you are trying to build a project right now, and for the project to build, it's taking nothing less than, let's say, like 10 minutes to build, right? It's in the long run, actually, right? You write a code, imagine you write a code for 5 minutes, or maybe like in 3 minutes, and it's not taking like 10 minutes to build. It takes time, and it's not just a good experience, right? So that's why I say, like, at least have a minimum of 8 gig and at least a processor of i5. Then space up to 60 gig, you can still, find your way around that, right? But this part is literally very, very important, because you need to set your device up. I mean, set your this thing up. Make sure you be able to understand. Make sure you are able to run the code, because some people, right, they want to learn, but I mean, if you have access to one, and if you probably have a MacBook, I think it should be much more easier for you, right? But if you don't have a MacBook, so you can still proceed with your Windows, and as you grow, you can move to MacBook. And another thing I also want to emphasize on this onboarding is that most of our the videos are recorded, right? But the actual learning in coding is not by watching videos, right? The actual learning is by you doing it, because that is the way you can replicate and you can literally learn. Do you understand? Coding generally is just that the best way to learn in coding is just for you to just, let's put yourself under pressure and try to explore some other things. You make mistake, right? But then you just have to do it. So I want to just put it here right now that learning, watching videos would not really do a lot, right? But the actual work come from you literally writing this code yourself, testing this thing yourself, and even if we are just building a simple UI, right? You can replicate what is on the video. However, if you try, the best way you learn is if you can try something similar and you can build that yourself. So you get to use some other widget that probably was not mentioned in the in that was not used in the video. So I feel like that is, I also need to put this there, because if you just want to, and also let us don't have this mindset that you just want the certificate. Do you understand? You just want the certificate. Yes, the certificate is important, but also your skill set is important. What you've done over time and what you've built over time is also important, because in this course too, we'll also go through GitHub. I will also let you know how to go about your GitHub, so that when I check your GitHub profile, I can see what you've done, and I can, from the onset, right, I can say that this is what you've done. I mean, I did one application for my church recently, right, and I pushed it to GitHub, right. Once you get to that page, right, you don't have to have, like, you don't have to adult tweets. You don't have to run the application. Like, once you get to the page, you can see the application. You can test the application on the page. You just click on a link, it will take you to a website. The application you will run there, and you can test it. So with that, anybody coming to my GitHub page right now, they can see the application, and they can even check the application to see the end-to-end experience. So that is what GitHub does. That is how you need to structure your thing, so that people get to your page, people get to your profile, and they can say, okay, this is what you've done. But they don't have to necessarily download the code or read the code. People are not really, they want the outputs. not the code part. Do you understand? Because I also need to, put this thing out there right now so that when we start doing all of this stuff, there's a part of also have like, there's a part of your track record that people have to see. Do you understand? So I think these are just, some side things about. I just felt like they came to my mind, and I just like, okay, let me just, just say it probably before I forget. Please confirm if you can still hear me before I go on, please.
Yes, we can.
Yes, you can.
All right, all right, all right, all right. Thank Okay, so this is just like the overview, like the breakdown of the videos and the weekly activities that we have. So the first week will just be onboarding and setup. So basically, the onboarding is just welcoming to mobile development. We talk about the app life cycle. We talk about the programming language that we are using, which is that, and we also talk about some basic things like that. Then once we move to that, we talk about Flutter. Talk about we set up your application at least you have to be able to run the application on your end. Then we'll just play around some things. I would explain the project structures and folders, right? We just have everything like that together. That is for week one. So week three is when we move to the fundamentals, right? We talk about Flutter widgets, we just play around some UIs, right? Then some other things like that. Then so these things you might not really understand it now, but I'm just giving you like what to expect. So I mean, we'll have your layouts, you can do widgets and navigation. So basically, navigation is like, let's say now that we all have our WhatsApp application, right? Once you get your WhatsApp application, right, you see your list of messages, right? Once you click on a message right now, it opens the chat. That means it navigates you from your home screen, from your home page to like the chat page. So would know how to would see how that is done. Like if you want to move to, if you click on the back button, it leaves the page that you're currently in. So it pops that page off. So we'll talk about those ones. Then also we talk about state management. So basically, state management is just that how do we manage my state? Like let's say now that my application, let's for example, is like a normal login widget, a login application. Once you click on login, let's say I've input your first name and last name. Once you click on login, it shows a loader. That loader is a state. Do you understand? If the login is successful, it moves you to another page, maybe the welcome page or something. It has changed from one state to the other. So we learn that state life cycle, moving from one state to the other, updating the state. We talk about state management, that state management approach that we have. We have provider, we have Reaperpod, we have GetText, and the rest like that. So we'll just pick one and would dive into it. We just talk about that. I mean, these things might not really be familiar, like you might not get used to this term, but as we proceed in this course, you'd get to, understand better. Then also we have API integrations. So APIs is just that we work with how when you connect your application with a server, it's an API. Let's say like we have a backend data. For example, I'll just use like a basic login script for example right now. Once you click on login, it check like you click on login, it should check the server, check if the user is registered. So how to handle that connection, it is done on the front on the mobile application. Would discuss that, and also how to send and receive data. So how to send and receive data. Then also talk about local storage. So local storage is just that when there are some things that you can save locally on your device. So would also talk on that. Then if we still have time, we'll talk about animations, permissions, and notifications. But these are basically advanced things that I feel like you can, always take note later. But then I feel like we'll still talk about it if we have that time. So that's just the basic overview of the whole course, right? Of the whole section, right? And also the approach that I want to take for this is that would in our 8 weeks, right, would work on building one application. Do you understand? So let's say that let's say that from this course, right, we are building this application. So the UI fundamentals to touch about it, then so that we can then use the application as the case. So at the end of our 8 weeks, right, we should have like at least one application, and we'll be able to cover most of these things. So I will explain some of these things independently. Then we can now see where this thing comes to play in a real application end to end. So that is just that. So I think then we have let go, transfer, transform. Let's dive in. So I think this is the head of my session, and I want to welcome you guys to Dive Africa. I mean, this. I just want to welcome you to this one, and I hope that at the end of this course, right, at the end of this 8 week, it's really a good experience, and you'll be able to say that okay, you've learned one or two things in the world of mobile development. So thank you so much for this time, and I think now is when I'll just welcome questions and we can call it a night from here. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you, Mr. Peter. Thank you so very much for this short session. I guess it was intensive, right? So you guys would meet him more during the class. This was just like a brief run through on what to expect on the class or during the class. Right, so at this point, I guess if you have a question, you could just maybe put it on the chat box or just indicate by raising up your hand using the hand icon on whatever device you're joining from. While I will just run off say a few things. So if you have any question, you can just raise up your hand so that he will take it before we call it a day. I would give like a minute or two to see that we get questions. But however, on the side, right? So for every class, we would like to have we have like a class captain, if that's the best word to use. Mr. Adeyemi had just dropped off. I think he's having issues, technical issues, so I think he has dropped off. So we typically have a class captain, or what do you call this now? Class representative, right? So that what the person would do would be would be more or less like an intermediary between the admins, the instructor, and the rest of the class members, right? So if a conversation or a communication needs to happen, they will route it through the class rep, and then other times a few other things that might come up from time to time. So, but because we know that I would believe that most people are working, if not everybody on the call, so we typically do not intend to bug with so much activity, right? It's just basic stuff. Maybe there's a communication that needs to happen. You would get the communication itself just to maybe forward it, or maybe sometimes just rephrase it to what everybody will understand, right? So for that, I'm saying that to say that for anybody that would eventually be the class captain, you need to have like a few time that you can dedicate, right? So you know that it's what to be doing the entire day, but some short time. So at least you're able to be checking your device from once from time to time, once a while, so that in case you get a message that the rest of, if not, if you don't have all the time and eventually choose to be the class rep or the class captain, what will happen is you would make the rest of the team member to suffer, because an example might be, let's say your live session happens on maybe on Thursdays, for example, and then for one reason or the other, the instructor decides to want to maybe shift the time. Let's say Thursday by 8, instead want to shift the time to an earlier time, or want to extend it, or maybe want to move the session to the next day. But because you are not, and then he had communicated that earlier, but because you're not live or you're not online, it now becomes difficult for the rest of the team member to get that communication. and then they will now miss out. Someone will now join the call, and then there's nobody on the call, or maybe wants to give an assignment, or maybe wants to give a hint to an assignment that he had given earlier. So that's why we require people to have a few time, at least have some time if you would eventually be. Now, the way we try to do that is we'll take nominations, right? So you would, if you're interested, you will nominate yourself, and by just put your name on the chat box, and then we'll do a poll. And if you can as well nominate somebody else as well, but you can just nominate yourself, put your name on the chat box that you're interested in being the class captain, and then we need a class captain and an assistant class captain, so 2 persons. Like if we have just 1 person, person will become the class captain. We have 2 persons. We run a pool. Person with the highest number of votes would be the class captain. The next person would be the assistant class captain. So why we try to do that now? If you're interested in becoming, you could just put your name on the chat box. We will just take questions. If you have any questions for Mr. Peter while he's still here, you can just ask. Or more whom is interested. So can you please spell out your full name? Mom, can you please spell out your full name? Let me get your name from the call now. So does anybody have any questions for Mr. Peter? I guess he's still on the call. Okay. If you have any questions, you might want to ask now. Maybe anything about the class, anything that he said that wasn't clear, that you need a better explanation on. You might want to ask now. Okay, so I believe that the silence means that there are no questions. So if there are no questions, we could just call it a day at this point. So thank you once again for joining. So I'm taking down the name. So we have 3 people now. We would Chikezi, I don't know. We'll just run a poll but with the 3 names, and then we'll send the feedback. So the poll will happen on your Slack channel. We'll run the poll on your Slack channel. So that's where you get to vote, and then we pick it up from there. So that being said, please do not forget that the classes starts tomorrow, on Monday rather. You will get the invite. I don't know if Mr. Ademi had mentioned that you get the invite latest before EOB tomorrow. EOD tomorrow, you get the invite to the LMS from where you access all of your learning resources, and then you would also get or not before Monday, you get what the class schedule will look like when you be having your live sessions, because there are other sessions that you'll be having, like, except for the mobile track, like the AI course, the soft skill. So you will get like a timetable on all of that, so you know that things are not being mixed up. And I see that because a lot of persons are not on the call. I want to believe because of timing, like, so that will also be considered. And then I think I'm forgetting something, but I'm not sure now. Yeah, but I guess that's all I can remember at this moment. If there are any other information, you get it communicated to you. So once again, thank you for joining. Thank you, Mr. Peter, and do have a lovely night's rest. We'll get to meet again on Monday. Bye for now.